Hello, everybody. This lecture is the first part of cycloalkanes. Mostly in this part, we will be dealing with the stereochemistry of cycloalkanes, and the next part will be synthesis and reactions of cycloalkanes. So let's get started. In the meantime, if you like this lecture, please hit the like button and subscribe to it. Given here is my mail ID in case you have some difficulties. Okay, so let us start with the lecture. What are cycloalkanes? Cycloalkanes, as the name suggests, are cyclic ring structures, but they are non-aromatic. Please get this right. These are non-aromatic structures. These structures may or may not contain a double bond. Examples, this is a three-membered ring and therefore is called as cyclopropane. Four-membered ring, cyclobutane. Likewise, cyclopentane, cyclohexane, this is cyclohexane. This is cycloheptane with 7 sides. As I mentioned, there can be or there may not be any double bond. This is a ring, three-membered ring containing double bond. Cyclopropane derivative, since there is one double bond, it will be cyclopropene. Here is also one double bond, and this ring system is called as cyclohexene. Now going to nomenclature. The principles of nomenclature are same as the principles of nomenclature of open chain alkanes and alkenes. So this is cyclopropane. When there is a substituent, you start numbering such that the substituent gets the lowest possible number, and therefore this is 1-methyl cyclopropane. If there are two substituents attached, you know the priority rules. OH gets priority over methyl, and so you start numbering from here OH 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so it is 2-methyl cyclopropanol. Everybody is getting this? Since we are numbering the ring carbon to which OH is attached in the ring, we can call it as cyclopropanol. Now here, the substituent is larger in size than the ring, cyclopropane ring. And therefore, this can be named as 1-cyclopropyl butane. Remember, you don't number ring and chain in continuation. Okay. Similarly, this is 4-methyl cyclohexane. You start numbering from the double bond. So this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, and this is 4. First, complete the numbering of the double bond, because double bond gets priority over the alkyl group. Here is an exercise given. You can attempt naming these compounds. Now coming to stereochemistry of cycloalkanes. Okay, first, just try to understand how do you calculate a bond angle in a regular polygon. The formula that is used for calculating a bond angle in a regular polygon is given over here, and it states that the formula is 180 n minus 2 upon n, where n indicates the number of sides of the polygon. So here in cyclopropane, number of sides are 3. So 180, 3 minus 2 upon 3, that is 60. So this bond angle is 60. Likewise, in cyclobutane, the bond angle is 90. In cyclopentane, the bond angle is 108, this bond angle. And in cyclohexane, this bond angle is 120. Okay. But each of these carbons in the polygon is a sp3 hybrid carbon. And therefore, the standard bond angle of the sp3 hybrid bond is 109.5. Therefore, in each of this polygon, there is a deviation from the standard sp3 hybrid bond angle. The bond angle of the polygon deviates from the standard sp3 bond angle. By how much? In the first case, it is by 49.5 degrees. Second case, cyclobutane deviates by 19.5. Cyclopentane deviates by 1.5 and cyclohexane deviates by minus 10.5. If you look at cyclopropane, there is a very large deviation in the bond angle as compared to normal sp3 hybrid bond angle. How much is the deviation? The deviation is 49.5 degrees. So the question is, how can this molecule be formed? Okay. Otherwise, overlap of orbitals involves this type of overlap, which indicates that the two orbitals which are overlapping are at 180 degrees to each other. Here, the two orbitals are not at 180 degrees. Therefore, there is a different type of overlap, and this overlap forms bent bonds. Okay. The orbitals which are formed are known as banana orbitals. And this is how a bent bond model for cyclopropane was proposed. It was proposed by Coulson and Moffitt. Therefore, it is called as Coulson and Moffitt model. What you have to understand in Coulson and Moffitt model is that the orbitals bend. The overlap doesn't occur at 180 degrees Celsius. The overlap occurs differently. Therefore, something called as banana orbitals are formed. They are in the shape of the banana, so they are called banana orbitals. And this way, cyclopropane is formed. Now coming to Bayer-Stein theory. The Bayer-Stein theory stated that in any cycloalkane molecule, the deviation of bond angle from the normal tetrahedral angle, that is sp3 hybrid bond angle, produces a strain in the ring. This strain is known as angle strain. More the deviation from the tetrahedral angle, more is the strain. And if the strain is more, the stability is less. Now, according to this theory, the stability of cycloalkane should be of this order. I have shown in red the angle strains. Okay, in cyclopropane has highest angle strain, so it is least stable, followed by cyclobutane, followed by cyclopentane, where there is least angle strain. Highest angle strain, least angle strain, and cyclohexane has a negative angle strain, but still it deviates from the normal sp3 hybrid bond angle, and therefore it should be less stable than cyclopropane. But what is actually observed? The actual order of stability was found to be cyclopropane is lesser than cyclobutane, which is lesser than cyclopentane, and cyclopentane is less stable than cyclohexane. In other words, cyclohexane is the highest stable molecule. Now, why is it highest stable molecule? Let us try to understand the assumptions of Bayer's theory. Bayer's theory stated that all ring systems are planar, and deviation from the normal tetrahedral angle results in instability. The larger the ring system, larger ring systems are also strained because the deviation, although negative, exists, and so they are less stable than cyclopentane. Okay, but we know that this is not true, and this is the major limitation of Bayer's theory, that the theory was unable to explain the stability of larger ring systems starting from cyclohexane. And now let us understand why the larger ring systems are stable. To understand this aspect, we need to understand what are the other strains apart from angle strain. The types of strains on the ring system, there is angle strain, then there is torsional strain, and there is steric strain. We have already discussed about angle strain. The torsional strain we will try to understand here, and steric strain we will discuss along with cyclohexane. Okay, now look at the torsional strain. You must have studied in 12th standard the eclipse and the staggered conformations of ethane. Okay, so this is ethane molecule, and it can exist in either an eclipse conformation or a staggered conformation. Now in eclipse conformation, the two hydrogens are nearby each other. And because the two hydrogens are nearby each other, which two hydrogens? First hydrogen is attached to the first carbon, second hydrogen is attached to the second carbon, and they are eclipsing each other. So there is a torsional strain present. Whereas in staggered conformation, just see, the same two hydrogens are farther apart, and so there is no torsional strain. Now, what happens in case of cyclobutane? Okay, let us try to understand. This is a four-membered ring. If this ring is planar, all the 8 hydrogens will be eclipsing each other. Okay, but if it is puckered, or if there are some carbons which go out of plane, just try to understand. Here all the 4 carbons are in the plane. Now if I pull this carbon and this carbon upwards, that will result in such structure. It is called as a puckered structure, and in this structure there are no eclipsing hydrogens. All the hydrogens which are there are near eclipsing but not eclipsing. So this is puckered structure is a more stable structure. But anybody will comment that the bond angle in planar cyclohexane is 90. Whereas when you convert it to a puckered structure, the bond angle becomes 88. So isn't the bond angle strain being compensated by torsional strain? The answer is no. Reducing the torsional strain is energetically more favorable or profitable than reducing the angle strain. And therefore, cyclobutane also tries to remain in a puckered or a non-planar conformation. Okay. Coming to cyclopentane. Look at cyclopentane. This is a planar conformation. In the planar conformation, there will be 10 hydrogens which are eclipsing each other. Right? In cyclobutane, there were 8 hydrogens eclipsing each other. This hydrogen eclipsing this eclipsing this, etc., etc. 4 upper plane eclipsing interaction and 4 lower plane eclipsing interaction. So here there are 8. In cyclopentane, there are 10 eclipsing interactions. Now what happens? It can exist apart from planar in 2 more conformations. One is an envelope conformation where only 1 carbon goes to the upper plane. Okay, all these 4 carbons are in the same plane as it was in planar structure, but 1 carbon goes to the upper plane. So it looks like an envelope, right? And this is a dynamic envelope because this carbon, it is not only 1 carbon. Instead, this carbon can also go to the upper plane, this carbon. And secondly, instead of going to the upper plane, it can also go to lower plane. So what is it? 4 carbons still in the one plane and 5th carbon in a different plane is known as an envelope conformation. Okay. Then there is another conformation called as half chair conformation. What happens in half chair conformation? There are 3 carbons, 1, 2, and 3. 3 carbons in the same plane. Okay, 1 carbon goes to the upper plane and 1 carbon goes to the lower plane. So it looks like a half chair. Okay, so this conformation is called as half chair conformation. Now, what is the advantage? The number of eclipsing interactions are reduced because in non-planar structures, the planar part of the structure will have eclipsing interaction. The non-planar part will not have. And therefore, number of eclipsing interactions are reduced. That means the torsional strain is reduced. Although this is at the cost of slight increase in the angle strain, but as I mentioned earlier, reducing torsional strain is more important than reducing the angle strain. Okay, and so cyclobutane remains in a non-planar conformation. Cyclopentane also remains in a non-planar conformation, either an envelope conformation or a half chair conformation. Okay. So the Bayer's theory is not applicable, but still angle strain and torsional strain are in the same direction over here. Now, look at the Sachet-Moore theory. This theory states that larger ring systems are not strained because they exist in non-planar conformation. I have given here 2 examples. The first is that of cyclohexane, which can exist in 2 chair conformations or a boat conformation. Okay. Similarly, cyclooctane, although this is out of the syllabus for you, we have seen this in aromaticity, that cyclooctane exists in a tub conformation. Okay, and if it exists in a tub conformation, then it is a non-planar structure. The number of torsional strain interactions are reduced. Okay, with that, we end this first part of the cycloalkane part, first part of the cycloalkane